And we're back. Welcome back to the Auto Authorities podcast. I am Jay. This is Gerald coming to you live. Whoa. Hold on here a second. Don't get an EV quite yet because they're falling short of the expectations. And we're going to share all the insider information when we come back. You ready to do this, Gerald?
Yeah, they're going to get a lot cheaper really, really fast.
Have you ever felt like you were taken for a ride while buying, selling, or repairing your car? Well, not anymore. I'm Jay, and this is the podcast to tell you what to watch out for, whether you are buying, selling, or repairing your car. With over 26 years of automotive experience, we are the Auto Authorities. This podcast is sponsored by iAutoAgent.com. We're real estate agents for cars.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Auto Authorities podcast. I'm Jay. This is Gerald coming to you live. We are talking about EVs falling short. All the predictions that Gerald and I have made, if you've been listening to this podcast, are coming true. And we're going to reveal that here in a second. But before we get going, I want to thank our sponsors, iAutoAgent.com. They have two different divisions. They're real estate agents for cars. What they will sell your car at no cost to you. They will help you buy a vehicle nationwide, not only finding it, but dealing with the dealer and teeing it up. And you don't have to move forward until you approve the deal in the vehicle finder program. And of course, the commercial division, where they act as strategic partners for businesses with fleets of vehicles, helping them buy those fleet vehicles, maintain those vehicles, and then sell them for maximum profit, allowing business owners like you to focus on running your business. And of course, if you have ever bought an extended warranty, you probably paid too much. Call iAutoAgent.com at iAutoAgent.com. They can get you an extended warranty on the vehicle you're driving right now or your next vehicle at pennies on the dollar compared to the dealer. And then we have Wrestling with Sales. And Gerald, tell us a little bit about Wrestling with Sales.
Yeah, well, actually now we've got a whole TV channel, the Wrestling Spotlight. You can find it on every TV in the country. It's available on Local Now. It's available on TCL Plus, on Carbon TV. It is a 24/7 channel, pro wrestling, with events, with interviews, with breaking news, and with my talk show, Wrestling with Sales, is on there as well. And it's right there on your TV right now on Local Now. You can just pull it up and let's see what's on there as we're speaking on the old Wrestling Spotlight. Right now, we're getting Central States Wrestling from Kansas City. One of their events is on, so you can watch the best in independent wrestling, national interviews. This week, I talked with Davey Boy Smith Jr. from the MLW. Talked with him in advance of their pay-per-view event, Super Fight, that just happened here this past Saturday. You can listen to him and lots of other great interviews. Fun channel, 24/7 sports on Local Now.
All right. Well, and if you're just tuning in, there's a lot of different ways that you can watch the Auto Authorities. Number one, go to YouTube, click the notification button, click the subscribe button. We are getting tons of views worldwide. Please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. We also have the Facebook group page, the Auto Authorities. We have 19 other different channels by just going to the autoauthorities.com, and you can literally listen to us on Pandora and iTunes and Google Podcasts and all the different ones that are out there. But let's get going here and let's talk about these EVs, Gerald. This is definitely something that we, as experts, have predicted for a long, long time. And now we're seeing companies like Hertz pulling out of even selling EVs. How about that?
Well, they're trying to sell them. You can buy them right now. I mean, I don't know if too many people realize this, but your rental car companies, Hertz and Enterprise, they have divisions that work like a auto auction. They have reps that sell the cars to dealerships directly, and they also have their own retail outlets. So when Hertz says, hey, we're going to sell and get rid of 20,000 Teslas, What they're doing is they're listing them in online auctions. They have their reps reaching out to dealers trying to sell them to dealerships as used cars, and they're going to start parking them at Hertz, dealerships, basically Hertz-owned used car dealerships, trying to get rid of them. Enterprise does the same thing. They have the same structure, probably even a little bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem they're running into, what's the one of the big things that Tesla doesn't have that regular manufacturers have at their dealerships? It's two items they don't have.
They don't have a showroom.
No, they don't have. Yeah, true. They don't have used car departments, and they don't have captive financing. So they're letting their cars float to the market, and the market's going to determine what the resale value of those things is. And right now, rocks don't float too well. They're dropping. The problem is, if you're a manufacturer, you can kind of create your own reality by, extending leases out. Okay, hey, right now we're going to do a 39-month lease because we know we're going to want to have these cars coming back in 3.5 years. You can incentivize your used cars through your captive finance arm. Like if Ford sees that the dealerships are just getting pummeled with a bunch of used F-150s, they can do a special financing program for used F-150s, and here you can finance them at 3.9% for 60 months. Try to get rid of them. Well, Tesla doesn't do any of that, and they also don't take the used cars in. So there's no certified program to build value up in them either. And most mainline dealers don't want them because they can't work on them. So Hertz dumping 20,000 of them into the market, if it was a Toyota, if it was a Chevy, if it was a Hyundai, if it was a Ford, would mean nothing. It would be a blip on the radar. Dumping 20,000 Teslas into a market where dealerships don't want them, can't work on them, and the manufacturer that sells them can't take them back, it's a seismic shift. Here, take a look at this. $17,700 gets you a 2021 Tesla Model 3.
And that's something, man.
18.1, 18.3. You can go on any of the used car sites, and if you go on a dealership auction site, they're just flooded with these things.
Yep.
They're not moving. Nobody's buying them.
No.
And at 17,000, you still qualify as an individual. You can get that tax incentive now. I think it's up to $4,000. And the tax incentive comes off from the dealership now. So it's a much better deal. You're talking $13,700. I mean, my God, we've been talking for 4 years now about how people are looking for $15,000 used cars. Well, there it is.
Exactly.
Sell them.
Well, here's the other thing too, and this is another thing we predicted, is there's major inequity situations. Think about this. Think about if you bought the 2021 Tesla Model 3. What did you have to pay for that car? You had to pay $60-something thousand for that car. What do you think that they owe on it after 3 years?
45.
Exactly.
48.
So that person's going to go
17.
try to trade in that vehicle.
Yeah.
Now, at $17,000 and $18,000 for a 60,000 mile Tesla, that is a deal. Deal alert. I mean, literally. I mean, to go out and get a car of that level for that dollar amount. Now, why did Hertz pull out? Hertz pulled out because they are super expensive when they break. I hate to tell you that, folks.
Yep.
They are really, really expensive. And Tesla has basically a monopoly where you basically have to go to Tesla almost 100% to get that freaking thing fixed. All their shit is locked down, just like an iPhone.
Well, and then here, the other issue was having is they were finding out with Enterprise, and Enterprise is doing a similar, they're just not as dramatic. They're just going to buy way less of them. More crashes per rental by a massive amount than regular cars because people weren't able to judge the acceleration because they do accelerate faster and you don't really realize you're going because they're so quiet. And the majority of Tesla rentals were being rented by people driving them for Uber. And they would rent it drive it till the charge was over, and then drop it off. So they could go 300, 500 miles, pay the daily rental, dump the car, never charge it, and go. So they were saving on the gas money. So they weren't being used by regular consumers. They were being used by people to rent them to subvent their Uber business. And, you know, if you get into an accident in the Tesla, well, if you got the extra insurance through Enterprise, okay, hey, it's your problem. And
Yeah,
like
and
you
I
said,
hear, well, and
crazy
that's a good,
expensive because they're not repairable. They're recyclable. You crash
Mhm.
in a bumper, a regular car, it's a $5,000 accident, and that thing, it's 35,000.
Oh yeah, especially like windshields and just any type of damage. I remember we had somebody come to iAuto Agent and they wanted to sell a Tesla with us, a Model 3, and there was some damage right around the pillar right there where the windshield is, right the outline of the windshield.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, it can't even be fixed unless you go to like a Tesla certified body shop. And let me tell you what that means when you hear that word certified. It means it's a crap load of money. That's exactly what it means to fix that car.
Mm-hmm.
And truly, like, this is a big deal. Like, we are bringing to your attention right now. I pray that you don't own a Tesla Model 3 right now and you didn't finance it, because if you leased it, that was smart. If you financed it, not so smart. Because Elon Musk wants those cars back too.
Well, I mean, what are they going to do with them though? They don't sell them. So, I mean, to a degree, the inequity is part of Tesla's problem because they're going to start facing the consequences to their decision of not having dealerships and not actually having a fully operating dealership model, because something that really, really helps the manufacturers pump cars out is knowing you have an outlet to hold the value of your cars higher. That's what certification is. That's why manufacturers do it. One, they get to pocket the money from the powertrain warranty because cars don't have powertrain issues much anymore. It's electric issues. So that's basically a profit center for the manufacturer. But two, it props the value of the car up so their cars don't free fall in value. So then you can advertise, hey, our car holds its value. Great. We're one of the top value holding vehicles on the road. Well, yeah, it is, because you're propping it up with the certification program that keeps the prices high. You just let the cars float to market. Man, that's a bad idea. And they're going to start feeling that now.
Oh yeah. Here's the other thing too, like, because everything is on lockdown. We had another client of ours come to us this past week and they're like, hey, Tesla. So he had a 2020 Model 3, only had 49,000 miles. So it wasn't quite even out of It wasn't even out of factory warranty yet. And they wanted to sell him a warranty for $3,125 for a 25,000 mile, only a 2-year warranty. So think about that, over $1,500 a year.
Yeah, that's almost as much as Car Shield.
Well, yeah, and the Car Shield won't even pay when it gets broken down. So that's a whole nother story.
Let's figure Car Shield's about $2,000 a year.
Wow, that's insane. Yeah, we with our warranties and it varies, but like sometimes I can get like 10-year 125,000 mile warranties. Now, not on a Tesla, but for sometimes under $3,000, depending on what kind of car it is, you know?
Yeah.
But
and now, hey, I don't want to just hammer on Tesla because they're the people on the top of the hill in terms of the EV market. They're the ones who are still killing it. Now, they're massively cutting their prices. I'm sure the profit margin's down, but they're still selling a ton. How do you feel about going out and getting yourself a Mustang Mach-E? They're nice cars. It's a good looking vehicle. Yeah. Here, Chicagoland area, just to check. 1,411. This is in a 100-mile circle of Metro Chicago, which if you're familiar with Metro Chicago, once you get outside of Metro Chicago, there's not much of anything in that 100-mile circle outside of Chicago. So it's basically just in Chicago. So the Chicago city area, basically, there's 1,411 Mustang Mach-E's available for sale right now. I did a check of some dealerships around Kansas City and St. Louis, and the average Ford dealership, the average, metro-sized Ford dealership has 30 of them new on the ground, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with those? The majority of them are 23s. They have right now $1,000 incentive from the manufacturer. You're a dealer and you've got 30, 20, 23 Mach-E's ringing the bell at an average of about 50 G's with $1,000 incentive. I mean, it's February. You don't want to have the previous model year car in the ground. That's not good. And with the new model years coming in, those things are dropping in value every day. What do you do as a dealership to get rid of them? They're going to have to slash them and burn just to move the car.
Yeah.
You can't just hold on to them. They're not going to increase in value.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, that'll be something to watch. I mean, those things should drop by, I don't know, what do you have to drop them by? 20,000, 25,000?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to drop a lot. What's the MSRP on them?
They can get up to the mid-60s.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Start at about 50. Get up into the mid-60s for the special editions.
That's the big issue, is the fact that these things are like to build electric cars right now is less expensive than it used to be. And it's going to be even less and less and less and less as we go down the road. And all these manufacturers that race to get to the electric vehicles, every single one of them, they have multiple different electrical vehicles now. They are sitting like expensive paperweights. Exactly what our prediction. We should like pull our predictions up like from our past episodes, because we told you this was going to happen.
Well, this wasn't a hard one because every technology does this. It's got a video monitor behind me. It's nice, and I can play little videos on it. I can have graphics on it. I can just put headlines up there. That video monitor cost me a total of $600. When I was in graduate school, I did an infomercial. When I was in grad school for broadcast, and I did an infomercial for Mitsubishi Diamond Vision flat screens. And it was a 32-inch flat screen, so 20 inches smaller than this guy. And the client was Cleveland Clinic. They wanted to use it as a surgical monitor for arthroscopic surgery, so they could put the arthroscopic camera on the 32-inch Mitsubishi Diamond Vision screen. It was $20,000. And we did a dedicated infomercial just for the Cleveland Clinic staff for the local Mitsubishi vendor. $20,000. Now, was it a great TV? Yeah, by today's standards, no, it sucked. But that was the first generation. That's what it sold for. Cleveland Clinic was an early adopter. They got it. And then you had a peak where everybody who really wanted one ran out and bought them, real expensive. And then a crash. And then the next generation came and they got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, to the point where you can have a 55-inch flat screen TV that's basically a computer that you can put whatever you want on it and have the effect of a TV studio for $550.
Yeah.
The same thing's going to happen with EVs.
Yes.
Toyota came right out and said it. Toyota's looking like the geniuses out of the room right now because they were the last one to get into the EV circle. They did it kind of half-heartedly. They kind of pawed at it. The car is called the BZ4X. Toyota came out and said, hey, this isn't good enough. They fired the person who was in charge of creating it. They announced the next generation is going to be a solid-state battery. It'll be the size of a suitcase. It'll get 750 miles of range, and it's going to be a third of the price. That's coming in 2025. And everybody's going to do the same thing. So EVs aren't dead. I think, honestly.
Oh, they're not dead. No.
No, I think companies I think companies, I think governments, cities, they lost the narrative because they started talking about, hey, 2035, we're going to be 100% EV. You tell somebody this is what you have to do. It's America. You tell somebody you have to do this, they're going to say, no, I'm not. It could be a great idea, but they're going to say no. You have to
Nobody
convince
wants to
them
be
that you
told.
need to follow. It's the right idea. And it was way too much of a push and not enough of a pull. We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. There's a reason why Buick dealerships, 1,000 of them just said, forget it. We're done. We're not going to sell all EVs. We're out.
Right. Yep.
Long term, it's probably a pretty stupid decision, but short term, a bunch of them gave up the dealerships.
Well, to wrap this up, basically, we made the prediction, everybody. EVs are not dead, but they're coming down in price. And just be very, very careful on how much you pay for one, because if you're taking a 5-year loan, 6-year loan, you might be in trouble. And we'll leave it at that. Any final notes there, Gerald, before we part?
Sure. Hertz has 20,000 of these pigs. Go to your local Hertz dealership. Heck, offer them 12 grand. They may say yes. They got 20,000 of them. They need to go.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us today. I'm Jay. That's Gerald, and we're signing off. We'll see you next week.